Alright, welcome back, guys. I haven't been uploading to YouTube in a long time, but recently I've started to get back into competitive Fortnite, and I've been, VOD reviewing and grinding a lot. Like, we've been putting a lot of hours in. So this was a tournament where we did a little bit better than we usually have. I wouldn't say it was amazing or anything like that, but what I'm going to be breaking down today is how to lead your trio going into endgame, how to rotate, and make sure you guys live all the way to your maximum potential here. So we'll get started. Can't always guarantee stuff like that because timing can be a little touchy. Right here. So right here we also see a team here, and I talked to Naya. I said, Naya, tell me what's good. Are they ahead? Where are they? There's actually a kid in this bush that we wouldn't have known. Thankfully he didn't try to make a hero play or anything. But because we're a full trio and we're staying together, he doesn't try to do anything. I think that's kind of funny because we haven't looked at these games yet, so we didn't even realize that guy was there. I think Naya may have heard him there because he was kind of looking there, but I was more focused about what this team was doing up here. So we're a little bit shambles on mats here. We're low on metal and we're low on wood. We get a lot of brick out of coral, so we're not too worried about that. We're spying that team. We also know here the way zone pulled, we know we have to get down. Like when it pulls over the water like this, we know that we have to get all the way dead side and kind of come up over these mountains. And you'll see some pretty good rotations that we get out of here because this side's so free. Because all these teams are coming in so late. Like if you think about it, there's only 1, 2, 3 potentially teams here in that solo. And that's all we're going to have to worry about because all these teams are going to push to mid. They're all going to push to mid because they're in there so early. And then same thing with this side. They're all going to kind of wrap in here, and they're going to ride this kind of height here. And that gives us the opportunity to kind of peel in dead side. And then we still end up getting mid, which is really, really nice for this game. But I'll let it play a little more because the importance here is on endgame. But as you can see, this is how you would rotate on a long zone to get dead side. The most important thing is getting your timing down. If you guys aren't on time when you're leaving your drop, if you don't have a set time to leave, when you know for a fact that you're going to have to rotate really, really far, you're kind of putting yourself in shambles for, 1, burning heals, and 2, rotating way too late. If you rotate way too late, you're very, very likely to get held, especially in stacked lobbies. If you're getting late into a tournament and you're getting up there in points and you're starting to see, even some pro names or even people you see in scrims a lot, once you start seeing those names, you know for sure that you're going to be looking at you're not in the bot lobbies anymore. So even here, we know the importance of getting up to this position. So we know that this position puts us in a really good spot. This team tried to shoot at us. We have a team rotating behind us. We know that there's a lot of congestion in mid right now, being that this is third zone. We know that people are going to be going for mid. Because the one thing about mid on third zone is you guarantee fourth zone and you guarantee edge of fourth zone. So what ends up happening there is you basically, once you get that edge of fourth zone, you're 50-50ing 50-50. So half in, half out, there's a 50-50 chance you get it basically. If it pulls far, then it is what it is. But if you're mid on third, you get edge of fourth, and when you're edge on fourth, you have a 50-50 chance of getting half in, half out. So that's why a lot of people are going to congest here. We know that we're confident with our rotations that we don't need to force ourselves to be in here because I know for a fact that there's all kinds of teams that are pushing up here. So you'll see once zone pulls, it ends up pulling over here. We just rotate down this mountain and walk into zone. You guys will be shocked how free it is. But right here, you'll see in a second, we refarm. We're really, really good on mats this game, and now I'm starting to look. I'm watching all the teams. I'm watching to see who's moving where, what kind of rotation paths they're taking, and it kind of gives me an idea of how the lobby's going to look end game. And that's kind of how you have to look at games while you're in IGL. And right now, so if I run it back a little bit, I'm also calling out potential snipe opportunities for my teammates. As you can see here, Naya's almost looking out the side. He's looking for a shot on this team. But at the same time, he knows to an extent what's worth and what isn't. Because if he can't get that knock and it's not free, then it's not worth it to peek it. But they rotated down the hill, so there's really not much that we do on this zone. And Quiz is doing the same thing. Okay, we're gonna go into drone free. And I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about a little bit better here. Okay. So when I talk about congestion in zone, as you can see here, we've got 2 teams here because they rotated on front side. We're in a position where we're not really a threat to anybody and we're not really in danger of anybody. This is what I was talking about when I say people just jump mid because they don't trust the rotation skills. There are, I don't even know how many teams are here. This is, like, oh, fuck, 6, 7, potentially, kind of in this general area, like right around here and then down this hill. So this is the rest of the lobby. And there's only, this isn't really a stacker, to be honest. Like, there's only 30 alive. This was our last game, too. So we can kind of, but you'll see. I'll keep this vision so that you guys can kind of see, because I know this team's rotating up here. I've already spotted, and now that mark is me testing. Like, I'm kind of thinking maybe that might be the better spot, and then zone pops. Because if we're up on this hill, we're not a threat to this team, but we can also hold the team down here as well, rather than being here. But as you can see, we also rotate perfectly around this zone, and we literally just walk up right here. And this team's doing something similar. Right now, though, so this is the one thing about being a little bit later to that mid position, because we can kind of give ourselves a better positioning for when fifth zone, 50-50, half in, half out, whatever you want to call it. Whenever that pops, we can kind of give ourselves a better position for it. So what ends up happening here is we play within these builds. We have a player here that ends up shooting one of us. But the positioning is worth the tiny little bit of damage that he gets. So I'll go to gameplay here so you guys can kind of see where we go. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Nea's the one that gets shot. But as you can see, he really only took like less than 20 damage. So in my opinion, that's a lot more worth, because now we're a little bit in the congested side, but at the same time, we're in such a good position for wherever half pulls that it really doesn't matter, because the other teams are going to build us in. So here we're looking at a little bit of a mat split, I think. I extend out. And we notice that there's a team looking at us, so I make another box to kind of give us a little bit of a buffer, and then I end up going back into my cone in a second here. But once again, if we go into drone free, we've got the other thing to note about being on this congested side is you have to pay attention to what the layers are looking like. Like, if there's a big build fight in this and you can kind of blend with it, like we did, then you're in a pretty good spot. Because this team really can't affect us all that much. This team is kind of the only threat to us just because we're basically on the same layer. This team isn't doing anything. They're just kind of chilling down there. Like, worst thing they could do is sneak up on us. And then there's a lot of congestion in this house, which eventually we see a team try to make a play up to this height. But then zone doesn't really pull them, so it ends up being a waste of resources for them because they tried to do too much, in my opinion. But we'll get back to it. I don't want to drag this out too much. So, yeah, this is the team that goes up. And look at the resources that they end up burning by just going up there. Now they're completely lobby focused just because they wanted to get a little bit higher. And these guys are not going to like that because they're on height right now. So we have to, like, when we're thinking about this, like, instantly, I'm pretty sure Neo is one of the guys that sniped, I think it was this guy right here. He sniped him, so that kind of, not that there is surge in this game, but if there was, then we would be a little better off. What did I just skip to? Yeah, I skipped too far. Hold on. Run it back. Because that was when half and half pulled. There we go. This is better. Okay. So let's go to we'll watch from the gameplay perspective. So right here, I'm basically just watching how zone's moving. That team just went up there. Personally, I'm thinking they're not getting half and half. Okay. Now is right here is when you have to start thinking about your rotates. Because your rotates here, this is just, wow. like the people that do these VOD reviews for like YouTube content all the time, they got some skills, bro. They're like Kovacs with where they gotta click. This is where you have to start thinking about your rotates, because if you look at zone here, it pulls a little bit down the mountain. We're here, and there's a lot of builds right here. So the first thing I'm thinking of is if you go right on this zone, you're pretty much dead. Because if the teams that rotate early turn around, they're looking at you first. The nice thing about the way that we rotated on this backside here, yes, there's more players here, but there's also more builds that we can ride out. So when we rotate, we come all the way around this side, and then we position ourselves hanging off the mountain to keep like an elevated position so that we don't have to build back up that mountain. Because that's going to be building up a mountain is like the biggest challenge for an IGL. You need to make sure that you're not doing that, because A, you burn too many resources doing it, which don't really set you up for like the opportunity to win the game, and you can also get held on the moving zones. So we see that guy there, we kind of put some pressure on him, and then we just kind of peel this, and this just becomes a completely free rotate, and we have nothing to worry about at all. Right in, I think it's pretty much right here, I'm starting to look at what the other teams are doing. And, oh, I just missed it. Nea spots a frag. So this is one of those times that you have to know your timings for frags. We don't want to get that. There's a reason why we didn't, even though we got a couple tags on that kid that was building up, we know that we shouldn't be tagging, like we shouldn't be pushing that at all. Because that kid already has a height position on us. His team's up there. You can tell he's running to his team. And our importance right now is getting a position in half and half. Because once we get this position, we're kind of setting ourselves up for a good end game. Now we can look for frags because we're positioned, we have our spot, and nobody's really on our box, near us, or anything. We're all together. So right as we get in here, you'll see as soon as they build that wall, Nea spots this guy. He's getting lobby focused. He's building up the mountain, which is already putting him in a bad position, because what happened here is this team bouncered. They rotated the way that I said they shouldn't have. They rotated down the right side, and they bouncered. So then they ended up way out on low ground, and now they're trying to make a play to get back up. And Nea spots this guy in complete shambles and just sprays him down. So we get this impact here, sets us up with a bunch of heals, tons of mats. So we all go down, pick it all up, make sure we maximize it, and now the positioning we have, if we go back into drone free, you can see that we're positioned in the best spot possible. We have a full metal tarp that we are looking out on the entire lobby on. Somehow most of the lobby ended up over here. I don't know if they just weren't very smart or what happened, but you definitely don't want to be on this like low ground ledge with like the congestion that we have here, because the lobby kind of split in half. But what happened is we found a free layer. So this team overcommitted on height, or I guess that, no, his teammate's down here. So yeah, they messed up the bouncer, something along those lines. But either way, they have height. And then we're looking at this team that's kind of your second height, but they're built out of mostly wood, which kind of says something about their mat count. And we just got a huge impact on a mid layer, because this is half and half. If you pull it, sure, get height. If you don't pull it, you're looking for height on first or second moving, because those are going to be the times where you actually have the space, and that's when there's going to be height changes because people start running out of mats. So if you don't already have height in half and half, there's no point in going up, because yeah, here's this guy's teammate and he's going all the way up. I have a feeling that the call there was this guy got height, the guy we killed was trying to get up to him, and then this guy was also trying to get up to him. When in reality, what should have happened is this guy should have just dropped to his teammates, because they ended up losing a teammate and then burning a bunch of resources to get up there. Yeah, so that obviously bit them a little bit, but we'll go back to the gameplay here. Here we're just splitting AR ammo because Nea's no longer carrying an AR. So what's happening right now is we know first moving pulled towards us. So what's happening is Nea and Quiz are looking for impacts. They're looking for frags. I'm getting a head start on zone. By doing this ends up getting us height. Because when I build a tarp like this, they're able to look for those frags, and I'm able to kind of put us in a position to kind of get ahead. So here I made the call. I said, get up here, get the front side. We end up getting this kid in a box. He gets out. Right here, this was the play that honestly won us the game. We'll watch Nate's perspective because I end up getting kind of scuffed and die. But Nea makes the call. That height is literally right above us, and they are not paying attention to us at all, even though we're second height and we're right under them. This was like a huge error on that team on height. Right here. So this ledge right here is slightly, like, they're only one layer above second height, which you should never be. At least 2 to 3 layers, because you never know what could happen. Like, what ends up happening here is Nea just goes to height and just boxes both guys and just smacks them up. So, and because of like how low they were, that's what made that so easy, because he could just build one ramp, build a ramp to the right, and then they're boxed. So you guys will see it kind of play out. But boom, one dead, and then I end up dying, and then Quiz and Nea just mop this kid up. Now we have max mats, and you guys will kind of watch this play from here. So as an IGL in this position when I'm dead, like I said before, Quiz is our support fragger. We all could play, we're all smart enough to play an IGL position, but I specialize a little bit better in rotating and like making good decisions and stuff like that, where Nea is a really good fragger, and he's good at finding opportunities, and Quiz is also making sure that everybody's in line doing the right thing. What ends up happening here when I die is Quiz takes over that kind of IGL tarper role, because obviously there's nobody to do it, and then Nea's just riding on top of builds looking for kills. That's all he's doing right now, and they're communicating up and down kind of what they're seeing, they're marking, and what I'm doing is I'm telling Quiz where to reconnect. So when I go to Quiz's perspective here, I see these builds, I tell Quiz you gotta go here, connect to that, now you can look down for kills. So now he's connected, he's secured on height, there's nobody contesting. And I'm also his ears too, because like it's loud endgame, right? Even though, again, once this is not a stacker by any means, but all of these strategies are completely viable in a stack game. So I hear these guys down here, I hear them about to make a move. You'll watch Quiz kind of turns around and starts looking at them right there. And now, because this is technically second height, he has to focus on them for a little bit until they kind of chill out. So he gets a beam off. Now they're not coming up. There's no shot they're coming up. Right here, I communicate to Quiz, you need to connect again. Realistically, he really didn't need to all that much. But it's always worth to make sure you're secured up. And again, Nea is a couple layers below. It's a safe distance where Nea's not going to get cornered, pinched, anything like that. But he's also a little bit closer to use that P90 to full advantage. But yeah, these guys play this really well. And again, as an IGL, you're communicating where to connect to. So right, I think it's on this next part. They're low on mats, so I think they split in a second. Right here, I tell Quiz to connect to that brick tower. Now they basically win the game from here, because there's nothing those teams can do. They can't get you off height. You're just like a... He's got 500 AR ammo. He can just spam from height, and then they win the game. Simple enough. So the big things to take away is dead side rotates, making sure you're rotating early, making sure you have a time to leave your drop, and then height plays, making sure that you are able to recognize, or you have somebody on your trio to recognize. If you're an IGL and you're tarping as well, it's really hard to look for height at the same time as doing everything else. So having a teammate that can look for that is huge. You want to make sure that you have that. And you also want to make sure you have 2 teammates that can communicate together. So that's pretty much it. If you guys want to keep seeing stuff like this, make sure you comment, like, all that good stuff. This was kind of my first attempt on breaking down like one of our games. Some of the people in my chat have been asking for it. Some of the people I've been playing with have asking for it. So I thought I'd just kind of throw it together quick, do a little rundown of one of the games that we won. This was our last game. It ended up getting us, I think we were somewhere in the 200s for Cash Cup. We've basically been playing together for, a couple days. So a huge turnaround from last week, and we're looking to just keep improving. So if you guys, once again, like this type of content, let me know. If you think there's anything I could change about the way I'm VOD reviewing, let me know. But other than that, that's it. Thank you guys for